Other law enforcement officials?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir. Do you have any physical evidence that will show you I killed Mr. Omar Ray?
There's a lot of evidence that links you to the murder of Omar Ray.
What is that? Tell us.
Can I get into, Your Honor? Can I get?
Yes. Sure. You can go.
He wants to outline that evidence, and that's fine based on his question.
Yes, sir. Okay. Initially, there was information that we got from the hostages that he had mentioned that he was involved in or was responsible for the murder of Omar Ray. He also mentioned it to a witness, Darius Lanier, that he was responsible for the murder of Omar Ray. In physical evidence, during a search of his Cadillac, there was a shell casing recovered that that was fired from the same weapon of the shell casing that were recovered at Omar Ray's scene, the murder of Omar Ray. Some of it.
Any more? Any more evidence?
That's off the top of my head. That's what I remember.
Do you have any fingerprints, blood, hair, palm prints, shoe prints, anything that link you to James Hood to that Mr. Ray murder?
I did not, no, sir.
You do not?
No, sir. But I did not wear that scene either.
But you just told us, or did you just tell us what linked?
You asked me, yes, sir.
Okay. So, do you know of any eyewitness that would have identified Jamie Hood as the person who killed Mr. Ray on March 28th?
I do not know of an eyewitness, no.
Now, did you see Mr. Ridden record me on the video?
He's already asked that question, and it's been answered already.
Why did you state that Mr. Ridden's cell phone, he gave it to the agents that night when he was interviewing March 25th? Why did you state that?
I don't know that I stated that, sir. Help me understand.
Did you state that Mr. Ridden, when he did an interview, he gave his phone to the GBI that night he interviewed us? I thought you stated that.
The GBI ended up with his phone the night of the 25th.
That isn't true, isn't it?
Sir?
That isn't true, isn't it?
If I stated it's true, I stated that the GBI ended up with his phone.
Did they get it from Mr. Ridden himself? I thought that was what you stated, sir. That they took it from Mr.
It's not
Ridden.
what you asked.
What?
They did not get it from Mr. Ridden.
Sir?
They did not get it from Mr. Ridden.
Who did they get his phone from?
From his girlfriend, Miss Beth.
Could you tell the jury about that?
I did. They got it from Miss Beth, his girlfriend, who was also a hostage.
So, who took it from Miss Beth?
GBI agent Amanda Rowland.
Okay. So, did Mr. Ridden himself give it to anybody that night? His cell phone to anybody?
I just know who the agent got it from.
So, now who was that? Was it Special Agent Thomas and Special Agent Doug Parker who interviewed Mr. Ridden on March 25th, 2011, sir?
I remember being Agent Thomas. Yes. I can't remember who was with it.
Did Agent Thomas tell you that Mr. Ridden refused verbal or written consent to search the cell phone?
Beyond the scope of that, I would object earlier, but I would object at this point going further into that.
Do you personally know if Mr. Ridden refused verbal or written consent to search his cell phone on March 25th, 2011?
I do not know. I know there was a search warrant ascertained. We got a search warrant to check the contents of that phone.
How long after they took their cell phone they get a search warrant?
I'm not sure.
Well, how do you know they obtained cell warrant, a search warrant?
I have that knowledge. Yes, sir. I know they obtained a search warrant.
Okay. What date was it?
I'm not sure.
Well, how do we know you know it was a warrant?
I'm telling you, there was a search warrant for that phone.
Was it a search warrant? Was it a search warrant on March 25th, 2011?
Yeah, he already indicated he didn't know when the search warrant was issued.
give it to Sarah Thomas.
Do you know what Sarah Thomas did with it?
She obtained a search warrant and downloaded contents from the phone as I described previously, using a cell right.
That night, basically, you know, that she basically just went right that particular night?
Yes, sir.
And seized it at that time?
That's correct, yes, sir.
And, I think that's all I have.
Just one question. You just stated she took the phone from Miss Best, and she showed the quit written. Do you have any evidence that happened to her?
That's not what he testified to. That's not what
Did he just-
He did, but listen, that's not what he testified. He testified that Amanda Rowland gave it to Sarah Thomas and gave it to Quinn. Showed it to Quinn.
This is what I'm trying to say, y'all. Hey, I never heard that.
It's not what, the objection's sustained, you don't get to testify.
Okay. How could you be sure that Ms. Thomas showed Mr. Ridley herself on that same night?
I was not present when it was done, but Ms. Agent Thomas has indicated that she did.
Do you have any written report that she indicated she showed that phone that same night?
Ms. Thomas did a synopsis or a summary of her stuff.
Did you ever read it down there, hey, I relinquished the phone from Chandra Best? Did you ever see it personally?
I did not see the act personally, no, sir.
Do you have a written report today that proved that she showed?
I do not have her reports with me, no, sir.
Well, why you testifying what she did and you ain't got nothing to prove?
Because you asked me, sir.
He asked you. First. Wasn't me.
No, that's not the question, and that's not correct.
No more question. Yes, sir.
Nothing further, Judge, and I, we,
Go down.
thank you.
Call your next witness.
I would like to call Mr. Dwight Sims. Please raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give to the court and to the jury on the matter currently pending before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Would you please state your first and last name for the court and the jury, please, sir?
Dwight Lane Sims, S-I-M-S.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I am a full-time licensed ordained minister, pastor at the Thankful Baptist Church.
How long have you been doing that, sir?
19 years.
Are you currently married?
Yes, sir.
Did you have a previous marriage?
Yes, sir.
And who was that to?
Shalisa Howard.
And what was the end result of that?
We married 1994. We divorced June the 18th, 2002.
Could you tell us why you were divorced, please, sir?
We divorced due to the fact because she had an affair.
Do you know who she had an affair with, sir?
Also Tony Howard.
Did you have a child that you thought was yours during that affair?
There was a child born in the marriage that we had to go and get a blood test for that was proven that it wasn't mine, that it was Tony. Yes, sir.
And you've been living there about 20 years or so, is that correct?
About 27, 28 years.
And when you and Shalisa Howard were married, y'all lived over there, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's just around the corner from the hood residence, 100 Rannoch Road, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Pretty much in the same neighborhood, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And so when y'all got this divorce and when all this came up, that was something that you would suggest would probably indicate may have very well been the talk of the neighborhood. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It was something that folks would have known about in that regard?
I object to this speculation, can't say who.
Sustained.
And in fact, sir, let me show you what I'll mark as state's exhibit.
1165.
You have one of these, okay, thank you. What's the next number there, I think?
1165.
1165 and 1166.
I'm not sure what we're waiting.
Yeah, I'd like to object to this as relevance, I'd like you to see it, I'm trying to figure out where they got it. This is my first time ever seeing, haven't seen the discovery, you know, and I also object to a discovery violation because
Okay, well,
if he had it,
just, let's see if the foundation's gonna be laid, we'll go from there. I don't see it now. I don't see it.
State's exhibit 1165 just shows a map of Athens showing your residence there at 154 White Road, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And just around the corner, it shows Rannoch Road, does it not?
Yes, sir.
And State's exhibit 1166 just simply shows the next one there where it has highlighted 100 Rannoch Road, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
And it's just around the corner from where you live, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's just taken off a map of just a small portion of a map of Athens, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I would tend to those in that evidence at this time, Judge. 1165 and 1166, and I would note that basically those are just smaller versions of the larger map, which is state exhibit number 1. It's already been introduced to evidence. All it is a map that shows basically the positioning of those homes in that neighborhood.
but no objection.
And there, and
Let me just show you that briefly, sir, if I can get the lights, please, sir. And, just look up there, if I can. State's exhibit 1165, simply shows that you see that this is White Road right there, and Spring Valley Road and Rannoch Road. Isn't that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
And what's been highlighted in State's Exhibit 1165 is your house, isn't that correct, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Sims? Okay. And right up here is 100 Rannoch Road, as far as you understand, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And State's Exhibit 1166 simply has 100 Rannoch Road highlighted up Sherlisa Howard and Tony Howard, y'all get along very, very well, isn't that correct?
Very well.
And y'all have at this time really a very, very, very cordial relationship, isn't that correct?
Very cordial.
And y'all get along, y'all go to different family functions together, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that child that was born is one that basically you, and both of basically claim as your own, isn't that correct?
Tony is his biological father, but he's mine. He was born in my house.
And the fact that you indicated during, I think his church services to me, I think the time they indicate that you had, what, 4 children altogether, is that correct?
Yesterday I had to preach in another church, and when they introduced me as in having 4 children.
And that included that one child?
That includes Dustin.
Okay. And so y'all get along very, very well and have really since all this stuff, right?
Forgiveness have been given, no malice, no hate, none of that against Tony. I respect him, I love him.
Yes, sir, Judge. Thank you. That's all I have of Reverend Sims. Thank you, sir.
Very right. Mr. Sims, sir. Do you know me?
No, sir, I don't, Jamie. Ms. Good.
Yes, sir. Have you ever told me you have a family, that Tony Howard had a family with your wife? Have you ever told me
No,
that?
that's a leading question, and it's already been asked and answered, and what he may have told him was in hearsay as well, so all that.
He insinuated that I had heard hearsay about this. He showed him a house, a moment of house and what he stayed in relation. I just want to ask, hey, have you ever told me? That's why I'll ask you.
Never told you what?
Have the pastor ever told me, hey, Jamie, Tony had an affair with my wife?
I will have a question.
I'm sorry. Sir, have you ever told me that my wife had an affair with Tony Howard?
No, I haven't.
No further question. Thank you, sir.
Anything else?
You've seen his mother out and about, have you not, sir?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Hood, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
In fact, I think you indicated you've seen her
I
in
did
the open
indicate
pantry
yes, sir.
on occasion. Seen?
Okay, I saw 2 things.
I think you indicated you've seen her at the old pantry or at the store and that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
Y'all aren't great friends at all or anything like that.
No, sir.
You're just neighbors, correct?
Just neighbors.
Thank you, Reverend.
Anything else?
Have you ever told my mother that Tony Howard had an affair with your wife?
No, sir.
No further question.
Nothing further.
Anything else? All right, next witness.
I like to call Sherlisa Howard, Your Honor. Morning, Ms. Howard.
Good morning.
If you please raise your right hand, ma'am. Did you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give to the court and to the jury on the matter currently pending before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
See? Could you please state your first and last name for the court and jury, please, ma'am?
Sherlisa Howard.
What is your current position, ma'am?
I work for Athens, Clark County Misdemeanor Probation Services.
What else do you do for a living, ma'am?
That is my current position.
How long have you been doing that?
3 years in August.
What were you doing before you were doing this?
I worked as the deputy sheriff at the Clark County Jail.
When did you start working at the sheriff as a deputy, ma'am?
1992.
When did you leave, ma'am?
2011 or 12, because it'll be 3 years in August with probation.
Was Officer Tony Howard working at the sheriff there when you were president
Yes,
Do you recall me as an inmate while you was working there?
I do not.
You don't recall being a mail lady at the jail?
Correct.
Do you recall being my GED lady at the jail when I was out there?
I could have been.
Were you the GED lady?
I was one of the GED people, correct?
Do you recall me going to GED class when you was there?
I do not.
Or is it possible been so long that you forgot that I was there when you was?
That's a lead question and cause for speculation.
Sustained.
Were you married at the time you working at the jail?
Yes.
Who you was married to at the time, man?
During what time?
Let's just say from 1996, 97, 98, during them time, who you married to?
Dwight L. Sims.
How long were you married to him at the time?
From 94 to 2002.
What were the end results of y'all married, man?
A divorce,
Why were you divorced?
because I left,
Why did you leave?
because that was my choice. I chose to.
Did you choose to have an affair with Tony Howard to play the role in that night?
No, my decision, it was my decision to leave. Now, if you're asking me, did I have an affair?
Why you,
But I chose to leave on my own.
did you have an affair with Officer Howard?
Yes.
When you was married? Did you have an affair with Officer Howard while you was at Clark County Jail?
Yes.
No further questions.
Small.
Ma'am, to be clear, what you indicated there was during the time that you worked at the jail there,
Mhm.
part of the time that you had that affair with Tony Howard, is that correct?
Correct.
And are you in any way implying that anything happened at the jail between you and Tony Howard in regard to any kind of relations?
No, sir.
None of that happened?
No, sir.
And during the time, you indicated you don't really recall Jamie Hood when he was there at all, is that correct?
Correct.
And do you recall at all any complaints filed by him whatsoever?
None.
Jail against you, or against Tony Howard, or anything like that?
None that I know of.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Wood?
I did that go wrong.
Call your next witness.
I'd like to call Miss Aileen Bishop Howard, please.
Yes, sir. Maybe a matter we ought to pick up outside the scope. be one. The matter about specific instances of alleged conduct, which never pursued in all any way, back from the 80s, that would not in any way be admissible in that regard. And then also particularly about her potential to claim the Fifth Amendment. She may not do that, in which event that's fine. But those questions, generally, you don't ask those questions in front of the jury about claiming any kind of a Fifth Amendment privilege. But she's worried about prosecution, false statements, or whatever it is. So nobody knows all of it, but he knows. So anyway.
Yeah. Mr. Long been knowing about this witness a long time. I got the CD through Discovery. I got it from him. This is nothing new to Mr. Long. It's not just Miss Aileen Howard. You got Officer Higginbotham. You got a recorded statement of her. Also, I have him on the witness list. The interview was recorded by GBI agents. The Athens County Police Department, former Police Chief Jackie Lumpkin, got the GBI involved because of one of their officers. And he didn't know about it. Now, he want to say Fifth Amendment. We just had Taryn Lumpkin come in here and beg not to testify. He was forced to testify. So why would he force Mr. Lumpkin to testify when Miss Aileen Bishop running him, he want to holler Fifth Amendment? Mr. Lumpkin made it clear, hey, I don't want to testify. You told me that, hey, just say I don't want to testify. And he spiked the man. So if he talking about Fifth Amendment and the right to remain silent, he just violated Mr. Lumpkin.
Mr. Lumpkin, that issue is gone. Mr. Lumpkin did not invoke his privilege and self-incrimination. So let's focus on what we've got. Now, I've got to ask this question. Y'all are making a lot of assumptions. Is this witness Tony Howard's mother?
Stepmother.
Stepmother?
Yes, sir.
So y'all are assuming I know all that, and I do not know all that. Okay? So that helps frame this. Now, so you're saying you do intend to get into the issues that Mr. Malden outlined. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I tell you what, Judge. I think it's relevant because it goes to the state of mind. This guy, hey, this guy is kind of, this ain't his saint, as I told you in opening. They have formed this guy to be a saint. But if you really get into it, the guy got off. So it goes to his credibility and his character. If the jury can see this, they might be like, boy, we can see why he was running. Mr. Hood just ain't just malice as they say he is. That's why I have her
You
here.
don't have to explain it. You intend to get into these matters, then we're going to need to take it as it comes and just know that we may be interrupting the jury service.
Well, we may need to,
back.
yes, I'm sorry.
I can help everything out to help you fast forward this thing. Yeah, I do. If you want to take those matters up now, we can do it now so we won't have to keep getting them out here.
Judge, I believe the proper way to do that, at least the way we've done that in the past, is we call the witness in. If that's their understanding, to do that outside the presence of the jury and deal with those issues there about that, about the independent privilege. So that's not a matter, I think that people are clear that question is asked, if she basically, or any witness, would basically be doing that in front of the jury. In addition, there is another privilege that's in there, 24.5.505, deals with no party or witness shall be required to testify in any matter which may incriminate or tend to incriminate such party or witness, or which may tend to bring infamy, disgrace, or public contempt upon such party or witness, or any member of such party or witness's family. So you have that particular matter that may be in there too. I don't know what it is. She may not claim it. I'm bringing it to your honor's attention because it would not be proper to ask that question in front of the jury. And perhaps we just need to find out based from her is what she do that, whether she's going to do that. But in regard to these matters about if in fact he intends to ask her, didn't you claim that Tony Howard did something to you in the 1980s? We would make a motion limiting to that. That
you heard from somebody else about disciplining his
No,
children?
no. No, I'm not.
You're not gonna get into all of that.
Nah, I don't, that's not why I'm here. I'm here for Jamie Hood, and the thing that,
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out if we need to get her in here for anything else.
Well, yes, Judge, because as I understand, and I may be wrong, but that's what I have been led to believe, that she's basically going to instate that what she said or make up was false. And she does not want to basically put herself in jeopardy for false statements to the police. That's what you're talking about claiming the fifth. That's what you're talking about. That she made all that up, you know, in order to try to get money from Clarence Howard that she wanted at that time to go to Augusta. Now, I may be totally wrong, but that's what I understand. We have some witnesses who basically come in that basically what the allegations she was making to Clarence Howard that day were absolutely not true. In fact, she scratched herself and tore her own clothing before the police got there and did that. Which, you know, they're prepared, they will be prepared to testify in rebuttal. But if in fact that comes out. But as I understood in regard to this, I was told she may not do that. That she would want to claim the Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination because basically those statements were false. And she doesn't want to get on the stand and basically pretty much say that they were false. And if in fact she cannot actually, you know, she claims the Fifth Amendment privilege to that extent, any statements that she may have made, since they're not subject to cross-examination, would not be admissible.
you know, I would firmly object to that because she talked folks, like he beat me. And as far as her, he beat her, was it back in the 80s? I feel like that kind of relevant to show his character. It's showing his character. This guy been violent. He been jumping on folks. He got me at the jail, and he bragging about it. She overheard him at the car shop, had to jack him up. It was all funny and all this. And also the weed and seed. When I cross-examined him on, cross-examined him about this weed and seed, he running around here telling these drug boys when the police come to town, and she telling on him through the whole thing. That's why I was asking them questions doing direct, because I had did my studies on the video of what was said. I was going to see, this what I want is really rebuttal too. I'm bringing her as rebuttal. And if she want to come in and vote the fifth, I object, because we got the GDI agents who I have on the witness list will corroborate everything that she is saying. So what she do, if you don't know,
So,
okay.
I'm not as interested in what you're not going to do as what you're going to do. Is what I'm not clear with. If you want to question her about what she knows about the weed seed, and you want to also question her about some incident at the Yates with Mr. Howard.
And that's what the truth, so help you God? Could you state your name for the court, please, ma'am?
And Amy Bishop Howard.
Ms. Howard, how did you come to get involved in this case, ma'am?
I was subpoenaed by you.
Do you know why I subpoenaed you?
Not exactly, not all of the details, but married to Howard's father. Get my glasses, please.
Just line up a little closer, you don't have to be right on it, but say about 5 inches or so.
Right here.
Ma'am, do you recall telling any law enforcement officer anything about Jamie Hood and Tony Howard, ma'am?
I remember telling a law enforcement officer how I felt.
Can you tell us about that, please, ma'am?
When I was talking to the law enforcement officer, I told him that I felt that you were telling the truth about Tony beating you up because he had beat me up. And that's what I felt.
Do you recall telling law enforcement officer that you overheard Officer Howard and his dad in the car shop bragging about beating me in the jail?
I didn't hear him specifically say you, but when he worked at the jail, I would hear stories about incidences of, jacking some of the inmates up.
Is it possible that you said it and you forgot about it?
It's possible. It's been a while.
Do you recall having a live interview with GBI agents?
Yes,
Oh, let me back up a little bit. Do you recall calling the police one day and you telling the officer that you know the truth about Jamie and Tony? And you're gonna go to the news about it.
okay, you're gonna have to repeat that. I'm sorry.
Do you recall telling the officer at the car accident, for whatever reason, I'm not asking you why you called him up there. I'm not getting to that. But do you recall telling this officer, I know the truth about Tony and Jamie, I'm gonna go to Fox 5, I know what really happened. Do you recall that?
I don't remember it.
Is it possible, it's been so long, you've been through so much, you forgot it, ma'am?
It's possible.
Okay. Do you recall the GBI giving you a live interview at some time, and you talking about Jamie and Tony had to jack him up, and they were laughing about it at the shop?
Yes, I did talk with the GBI live.
And do you remember that being recorded at the time?
I thought it was audio recorded. I'm not sure.
But you have some form of thought about it being recorded, ma'am?
Some type of recording.
Okay. Do you recall stating that Tony been here the hero and not by me? Because I think that history Jamie and Tony had caused Buddy Christian his life. Do you recall that, ma'am?
You have to repeat yourself. I'm sorry.
Do you recall? Oh, okay. Okay.
Question.
Okay. Do you recall doing an interview with the GBI that you told the agent, Tony have been held a hero, but not by me? Because I think in history that Tony and Jamie had cost Buddy Christian his life.
Gonna have to break that down. do remember saying that he's been held a hero, and that I didn't think he was. I did say that in some kind of form, not verbatim. Other part of your question, you'll have to repeat it, 'cause I'm nervous.
After that, do you recall that you stated, I think the history Tony had with Jamie cost Buddy Christian his life?
I don't remember that, and it doesn't sound like anything I would say.
Is
I don't remember it.
it possible you said in the video, do you want me to refresh your memory on the video, or is it possible that you said you can't remember?
It's very possible. I could have said it.
Okay. Would it help to view that portion of the video to refresh your memory?
I guess so.
Yes, sir. FBI come to investigate you about Jamie Hood and Tony Howard?
Yes.
Okay, now, do you think that this interview recording was based on Jamie Hood and Tony Howard? Now, would you know that the interview was based on Jamie Hood, were they there to talk to you about any other inmates at the jail, or were they there to talk to you about Jamie Hood?
Here to talk about Jamie Hood, but I did go off on the subject a couple of times,
Okay. So,
but I understand what you're saying.
do you think that you were talking about Jamie Hood and you possibly forgot it because the interview was about Jamie Hood, ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, do you recall having a conversation about Tony and the weed and seed and how he'll come tell about when a drug bus coming, he'll tell people in the house, hey, they got a drug bus coming. Do you recall that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall telling that Tony Howard beat you? If he beat you? Could you tell us about that?
Well, it was in 1991, year after I was married to his father. And I came to the shop, got my husband, and I had just had some dental work done. I'm not sure what led up to it, but I had asked his daddy to, help me with the bill. Like I said, we were married. Tony came in and we were having an argument, and Tony just intervened and slammed me to the ground. Slammed me to the floor inside the shop.
That's all I'm gonna give it to you.
Ms. Howard, I'm Ken Malden. I have a number of questions for you if I can. First of all, let me ask you, you've been subpoenaed for how long on this particular case?
I think it was in May.
In May?
I think so.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So you got a subpoena that you might be a witness in the case for the defendant. Is that correct?
Yes.
And do you understand this matter has been broadcast live on the internet? Is that correct? You got to speak up, ma'am, if you will.
Yes.
Okay. And you understand there basically that that testimony of witnesses can be seen on YouTube, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And you've been watching the case on the internet and on YouTube, have you not?
Off and on.
Jill, I'll check. What relevance do that have to have what she told the agents, what she did in the trial? We're not here about the trial. We're here to talk about the allegation that was made. Charles Bushman.
You understand, ma'am, in fact, as I understand, you've made a lot of different posts.
I'm sorry?
As I understand, you've made a lot of different posts via Facebook or the internet about this case all along the way, commenting on different things that were going on during the trial, isn't that correct?
Not comment on the trial. I can remember. I know I'm on Facebook a lot.
And you've made comments on Facebook about this case, have you not?
Just on Facebook, just telling my friends that I was going to have to be in court to testify.
And in fact,
I check the speculation because there's no guarantee who was on her Facebook. How could he say who was making those posts? They might have been on her Facebook. She might have had a little one. Somebody got a cold. We wouldn't know.
I was asking her about her post. In fact, you've made comments as well on Classic City today on the internet on post, have you not?
A couple of comments.
Well, it was more than a couple, wasn't it, Ms. Allen? Am I correct? Pretty regular since the trial's been going on, have you not? In all fairness?
Maybe 3 or 4. I don't think it's about any.
In fact, there was one where somebody posted, is there an option to view earlier testimony? Would like to see what happened while at work, and you responded, you can Google Jamie Hood trial videos and see prior testimonies on previous days, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And you had another post, you can go to YouTube and pull up videos on previous testimonies,
Yes.
isn't that correct?
Mhm.
And, in fact, at one time, on July the 10th, where's the trial today, was a question, and you responded, they had a juror with a migraine at the start, so it was no court for a while, right?
That's what I heard.
And, and there are other times that you've commented on your Facebook page as well as on that Classic City Today, so you've been following that pretty regularly, isn't that right?
I follow it when I can.
Yes, ma'am. And you watched it live and had people, watch people testify, right?
Yes. But not
see-
every day.
Did you see Tony Howard testify?
No.
And, but you watched other witnesses that testified during the trial, correct?
Off and on during the day, I would check in on it.
And you're married to Clarence Howard, is that correct?
Yes.
And y'all been married how long now?
25 years.
I'm sorry?
25 years.
I just be a line of question. This is a public trial. Anybody can watch this trial who they please. This is a public trial. So if she chooses to watch this public trial, that's her right to do that. That don't mean that she discredited from watching the trial. Okay.
Thank you. And, ma'am, let me, and right now, you're back with Clarence Howard, is that correct?
We live in the same house, but we're not back together, separated for 13 years.
You've been separated for 13 years, is that correct? Now, this interview that was conducted here, that was in the Thompson office of the GBI, wasn't that correct?
Yes.
The one you just watched a portion of it, the defendant played, wasn't that correct?
Yes.
And that was after you'd moved to Augusta, I guess, to live with your son for a period of time, is that right?
I was staying with my daughter, and, well, my
Your
son
daughter.
lives in that area also, so.
Okay. And you reluctantly agreed to meet with them to basically talk about what happened, is that right?
I'm sorry.
You reluctantly agreed to meet with them with this interview, isn't that correct?
I wasn't reluctant about it. I didn't really want to, but
That's right. Now, it all stemmed from what happened on May 30th, 2013 at Clarence Howard's body shop, Howard Body and Paint, isn't that correct?
yes.
And you went over there at that time to basically get some money from Clarence Howard, about $2,000? Is that what it was?
Well, Clarence, I call him Howard, but Clarence, my husband, I loaned him $2,000. He promised to pay me back.
Okay. Well, you went over to get that, isn't that right? So you
Not,
could go to Augusta?
not, I had came home to check on my animals and take care of them for a day or two. And I would do that every other week, sometimes every week. So I came to the shop to we had made an agreement that he would give me so much money a week to help me out.
You went over there, that's what my point, you went over there to get money
To get
from
money.
Clarence Howard, your husband, isn't that correct?
Yes.
And
I object, I have to objection for the record. We here for sequestration. So if we here for sequestration, why are we talking about Clarence Howard and what happened that day? That's credibility for the jury to determine. We here for sequestration. So in sequestration, it said the purpose of the rule of sequestration is to prevent a witness who has not testified or who has not completed his or her testimony from overhearing and having his or her testimony affected by the testimony of another witness. See, you just said we give a sequestration. What Clarence Howard, she did, it don't pertain to
upset with him because he didn't give you the money that you thought you wanted. Isn't that right?
Yes,
At that time, you wound up basically calling the police on him. Isn't that correct?
that is correct, but there's a missing link there. He got on the phone and pretended to call the police on me. So, called the police on him because we both were had disagreements.
Okay. And you wound up saying that basically he had scratched you and hurt you and tore your clothing. Isn't that correct?
He did.
And that wasn't true, was it?
No, that was true.
You didn't scratch yourself and tear your own clothing, ma'am?
He pushed me, and I was up in his face, definitely in his face.
Did after calling the police? I'm sorry, go ahead.
He pushed me. I don't know if he did it on purpose, but he scratched my neck, and as he scratched my neck, I had a rag t-shirt on anyway because I'd been taking care of my animal, and he tore my shirt.
And ma'am, you're telling us right here and now that you didn't scratch yourself and tore your own shirt before the police got there?
No.
And did you wind up saying at some point that, you know, Tony, you need to tell your father to give me that money, otherwise I'm gonna call the media, I'm gonna call Fox 5? Did you wind up making that comment?
I've made that comment many of times to his daddy because his daddy is always using Tony against us, in our marriage.
And you've made that many a times since all this happened in 2011, isn't that right?
Yes, I threatened his father with it.
You threatened his father to call the media and call Fox 5 and say whatever, isn't that
No,
right?
no, not say whatever, but say the truth.
And it was in part of all that that you basically made these statements about
Could we let them go by so we can hear them right there?
Ma'am, after the police were called, all this was referred to the GBI to do an independent investigation, isn't that correct? About
Yes.
what happened there at Howard's Body Shop, isn't that right?
Yes,
And that was after you made certain statements about Tony Howard, isn't that right?
yes,
And your interview down there at Thompson had to do with the GBI investigating what may have happened between you and Clarence Howard and the statements you made, isn't that correct? That's what that was about, right?
I'm just, that's misleading. They was,
Your Honor.
just, can I be heard?
What's your objection? Tell me what the
This
objection is.
is misleading because the GBI did not go to Thompson to investigate what about
No,
Claire.
that's,
They,
The objection is misleading. Respond to the objection.
not misleading, I have her on cross and I'm asking you that specific question.
just is misleading because the GBI did not come investigate her according to Jamie Hood, Pearl and Clarence. Chief Jack Lumpkin got them involved
Your Honor,
because.
that's a speaking objection, I would object to.
I'll rule the objection.
Just one second, let me ask you the question. When they went down there, they were investigating the whole thing involving what happened on May 30th and the statements that you made about Clarence Howard and Tony Howard, isn't that right?
They asked me questions about what I said about Tony.
But they also
And they
asked you about
didn't.
what happened with Clarence, isn't that right?
I think they brought it up, they didn't make a lot of emphasis on it, I wanted him arrested, and that never happened.
And, but
Tony, what I said about Tony, saying about Mr. Hood.
Now, earlier, when that first clip that the defendant played, he said whatever history he and Jamie Hood had across Buddy Christian's life, just your opinion. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
You never witnessed anything at all, did you?
Nope.
And so, you didn't have any personal knowledge of anything that may or may not have happened between Tony Howard and Jamie Hood. Isn't that correct?
No.
And when you indicated on direct here that Tony had made a statement about jacking somebody up, you're not saying that he was making a statement about jacking Jamie Hood up, were you?
No, that's why I can back up a minute. Will allow me to back up.
Go ahead.
When I was telling the police, I said, I believe Jamie Hood was beat up by Tony because he beat me up. Speaking of Tony. Then with the meeting with the GBI, I never heard of Jamie Hood until after the shooting. But Tony and other deputies would joke around and laugh about jacking inmates up. So I really, truly believe what Jamie Hood said.
What you just said, until after the shooting, you never heard Jamie Hood's name, had you? Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what you've indicated that may have happened between you and Tony Howard was a matter where you and Clarence Howard were having some disagreement about money. Isn't that correct? About him paying some dental bill? Isn't that right?
1991.
And y'all were having a pretty heated argument. Is that correct?
Yes.
And at that time, Tony Howard came home. Isn't that right?
It was at the body shop.
At the body shop. And at that time, you said that Tony may have done something to you. Isn't that correct?
He did.
Okay. That, I won't go into the specifics of this time, Judge. But that was, according to you, was around 1991 or so. That's what you're suggesting?
Was?
It wasn't any time earlier than that at all.
No.
And at that time, Tony Howard was not employed with any police department or anything like that, was he?
Stop just a minute. Tell me, I'm assuming the lunch, just a moment, that's transportation.
At that time, Tony Howard was not. Tony Howard was a young man and was not employed with law enforcement anywhere, was he?
No. No.
And you took it to mean that he was basically taking up for his dad at the time he saw this argument between you and him. Isn't that right?
I guess he was taking up for his daddy.
The bottom line, you've never heard a statement about Tony Howard jacking up Jamie Hood, correct?
No, not verbatim line. No.
You never heard Jamie Hood prior to the shooting?
No.
And any statements that came out about that were a result of this incident that happened on May 30th and what may or may not have happened there at the body shop on that day when you went over there to get money. Isn't that right? Is that correct? And these statements about weed and seed, I mean, you said that Tony made some statements about weed and seed according to you? And that's when you made those statements as part of this investigation too?
I don't remember, but evidently I did. I mean, I can't recall now, but evidently I did.
And you're implying that Tony made some statements about drug bust or giving people prior knowledge of drug bust? Is that what you're trying to say?
Would give his daddy prior knowledge and
give his dad prior knowledge. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
So that's what you were talking about. So that's not information that he would be given prior knowledge to drug dealers, would it?
I object to the speculation. Someone know he getting drug.
So basically what you're talking about is that you're saying that Tony may have told his dad about some drug busts that happened. Is that
No,
correct?
he would tell about drug busts that were going to take place the next day.
He'd be telling his dad.
Yeah.
And you never heard him talk about telling anybody else, right?
Well, if you tell my husband anything, everybody he comes in contact knows it, because he can't keep it to himself.
Well, you're not implying that Tony Howard told anybody else other than Clarence Howard.
Not that I know of.
And he never made a statement that I basically said anything about drug busts and drug dealers, correct?
I'm sorry?
I'll strike that. Just one second. That's all I have of her.
refresh your memory off, and that's what I was trying to prevent, is here. I was just trying to make, just speed it up for everybody, but what it looked like I'm gonna have to do is refresh your memory, just play up to the 24-minute part. And I was trying my best to avoid that. I mean, it's no doubt that Mr. Lumpkin, them got a, the GBI become investigated because the Clark County couldn't handle it, because this was about Jamie Hood. That's why they call it GBI now. I can call in Jackie Lumpkin and he'll tell you, I got the reports about it. It's about Officer Jamie Hood. Clark County couldn't handle it. They could have handled Miss Aileen Howard and Clarence Howard. But the reason GBI was called in is because it was pertaining to Jamie Hood. So it,
Thankfully, I would object to this kind of argument. I think the witness needs to, we need to ask questions, but we're not as a witness. I thought that's where we were before we started talking.
And I'm not sure that, this is not your examination
Yeah,
of
exactly.
this witness. This is for a limited purpose. So I'm not sure that what you're talking about now is anything that needs to be taken up.
I fully understand. But my problem is, hey, I don't know if I was talking about Jamie when he jacked him up. I can play this tape. But I was trying to just, hey, be nice and hey, why we have to play it when he know it was about Jamie Hood at the end of the day. I got it all over the report. The GBI even about Jamie Hood getting beat. Why fish around when we know why we here?
Any other questions at this point on this issue?
Okay, I understand. This happened. Is it possible that you done just forgot? Hey, I was talking about Jamie Hood when I heard all